So today we're going to look at this octopus sequence from Craig Jones, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts on where I think the top player went wrong and what he could have done to possibly prevent getting stuck in that octopus. So Craig Jones is playing his classic Z guard, his knee shield / reverse de la Hiva style game, and in this particular spot you do not want to hang out. You can see that the passer is close to a knee cut and his weight is driving down. At this point, a lot of people, when they're playing reverse de la Hiva, even knee shield, when the opponent steps their knee up like that and they start to press, a lot of people will opt to throw in a half lasso on that same side rather than a knee shield, just because it's a bit more safety. In this case, Craig, even though he has a knee shield, looks like a reverse de la Hiva hook in. He has 2 frames. It looks like no one has the underhook yet. But there is a very strong variation of the knee cut where you cut without the underhook and you block at the hips. And this is what his opponent does to him right there. Now, before I start talking about the actual sweep, I want to give my thoughts on what I think is a mistake from the top player and what kind of got him into trouble in the first place. So let's take a look. So he knee cuts out. Again, no underhook. Instead, his arm is being used to act as a blocker on the legs. But now Craig's going to look to take his first initial reach around grip or octopus grip. And from here, in side control octopus, you're not as threatened. But as Craig bites that leg and slides his knee into the half guard, now the threat is very huge. Aside from side control octopus literally being bottom side control, the thing is, there's so many great options to counter the side control octopus. And they're not too hard, not too technical, very simple to pull off, but that changes when you go to half guard. And here's just one of the great examples of the side control octopus being inferior, because check it out, as the opponent sits up and tries to enter in, Craig is easily able to just step over the head, which is one of the best counters to side control octopus. Why does that work? Because there's no control over the legs, which changes when you play the half guard octopus. As you can see, what's stopping the top player from stepping over the head like the last clip? It's because Craig has his leg in the half guard. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Octopus side control is never a position you should strive to be in because it's not even really a guard. It's bottom side control. But if you do end up there, here's a really good way to use it. And here's how we prevent the step over. So number 1 is actually depicted in this exact clip. You can see that Craig throws up the octopus arm, and from side control octopus, he bites the leg and slides his knee inside to enter half before eventually getting the back take or going for his sweep or whatever. So the first use case here is using this as an entry point to go into half guard octopus, so we can set up our attacks and be less vulnerable to our opponent's counters. It's pretty much a side control escape that leads into a very deep attack system that's very effective too. And we always hear Gordon Ryan talking about going from defensive cycles to offensive cycles because we don't want to be stuck defending for long periods of time. So I'm going to give you another tool that you can use that gives you another layer of prevention against the step over counter. So look at J-Rod's right arm. He's using it to monitor that leg because he's aware about that step over. And notice how as soon as he takes it out, there's the step over. Now, if you're sharp, you'll realize that the reason that he took that out is so that he can build up to his elbow. He gave his arm another job, and therefore he had to take that frame out, or that monitoring hand, to kind of build up to his elbow and play that game. So the solution is kind of twofold. Now, as octopus guard players, we know that our strongest position is when we're built up on our elbow or our hand. We can't really play it effectively from our back, right, or our side. So the question becomes, how can we do both at once? How can we monitor the leg and build up to our elbow at the same time? Here's my solution. It's effective in both gi and no gi, but I will say it's much more effective in the gi. But it 100% still works in no gi. It's just basically a small grip change. And since I can't find this anywhere, I can't find this information anywhere online so that I can put a clip in and show you guys. So I'm actually gonna have to show you myself. I've never taught anything like this before, but we're gonna give it a shot, you know? I'm gonna try to show you guys me actually demonstrating it and teaching it, I guess. So I'm gonna show that in a separate video because this video will be way too long if I included that. So keep a lookout for that. It's gonna be preventing the step over from octopus guard. So one thing I did end up finding was Craig Jones getting into the same scenario where he's monitoring that step over leg with his octopus hand. But as soon as he gives that hand another job, it allows his opponent to step over his head. So see how he builds up? But this time, as his opponent steps over his head is so high. He built up and kept his posture up so high that his opponent, to step over his head, would have to throw his hips pretty high up in the air. And that allowed Craig to actually just continue that motion and get up and take the sweep. Another thing I find super interesting here is that I think it's Declan Moody on top. If you see, Declan's using that exact same hip block to block the legs out. Because you see Craig's he's trying to enter the legs right there. You can see what stopped it is Declan's hand in that hip. But as he goes to step over the head, Craig's posture is just way too up. You can see it builds up to his hand too. And that's what forces Declan to jump his hips so high to be able to accomplish that step over counter. But it ends up backfiring because his hips went so high that all Craig had to do was follow through with the movement, and he ended up on top. Also, real quick, since I want to answer any questions you guys may have, and I'm thinking people might be wondering, okay, in that first clip, why didn't Craig Jones get his head stepped over? Why didn't the top player do this counter to him while he had the chance? Obviously, we know that by the time Craig enters half, there's no step over. But there is a part where for a few seconds, he's in that side control octopus and his opponent could have stepped over. And in my opinion, the answer is really simple. I just think that the top player wasn't aware of this counter because he really could have. He could have just stepped over his head, but he chose to go for the crossface, which is very typical. But yeah, I just think he didn't know it. Anyways, back to the original topic, which I completely forgot about for a second because I'm super ADHD with it. But where did the top player go wrong? Where did he go wrong? Because he's in top side control. You should be controlling. You should be dominant from there, right? And so he passes the guard, blah, blah, blah. He goes hand to the hip. But right there, when he removes his hand, that hip block, that was the beginning of the end for him. Now, to his credit, it's not like he saw the future and he knew that Craig was going to immediately go into octopus. But at the same time, if you know that the guy you're going against is like an octopus type of guy, if you know, I think it'd be wise to keep that hip block in. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, right? We like side control octopus because we can get a really nice entry. It's like an escape. We can enter into the half guard octopus where we can really start to attack, which is exactly what happens in this clip. So the one thing I want you to notice is what direction Craig Jones's legs have to travel for him to be able to bite the leg and enter into the half guard. Now, when you look here, I want you to notice what direction is that top player's left arm preventing Craig's legs from going. Does that make sense grammatically? I don't know. You get me though. You can see that left arm, that frame or hip block, that's preventing Craig's legs from coming in. And for all my real sticklers out there who might go, yeah, it's not really preventing, you could still bring the legs in. One easy adjustment that the top player could make in that case, for all you sticklers, is to just move the arm a little south, closer to the knee line of Craig, and that'll just completely block everything. Now, at the same time you do that, if you sprawl your legs back away from Craig's legs, or if he simply tucks his feet under, if he kind of, tucks it under his butt, that'll prevent Craig from getting that initial bite that lets him slide in and enter the half. So, in conclusion, after a nice knee cut, stabilizing side control, the mistake was removing that blocker to the legs, because that's what allowed Craig to get his initial bite, which allowed him to slide into half. And then from half guard, it's literally anybody's game. I mean, to be honest, it's really the guard player's game, because when you're really strong in that octopus guard, there's not a lot of things you can do. There's a few. I have a few tricks as well myself, but I'll save those for another video. And I appreciate all you guys who support the channel by liking and subscribing. It definitely helps a lot. Till next time.